Live, local, now. From WSFA 12 News, this is a First Alert Weather Day.
And we have issued a First Alert Weather Day as the strong Hurricane Sally continues to barrel towards the Alabama Gulf Coast and across central and southern portions of the state. If you get WSFA, you're probably getting some kind of wet weather right now. So until that center of the eye wall makes its way over the Alabama coast, we do not officially have landfall just yet. Good news is, though, inside the eye wall, a little bit calmer for our friends in the Gulf Shore and Orange Beach area. We haven't seen a storm move through this area in particular since 2004. And a lot of people remember Ivan very, very well. And a lot of people are going to remember Hurricane Sally a little bit closer to Alabama beaches. You can see radar picking up on those heavy swaths of rain. That's upwards of 14+ inches of rain. And even into some of our far South Alabama counties closer to the Florida Panhandle inland, we're talking several inches of rain that has already fallen and more is to come. So that's why flooding is going to be the major concern. Hey, it's dark out there and it's ominous, but it is raining right now locally close to home. This is our Alpha Insurance Camera Network in Andalusia. Fun fact, I tell the kids every time we go on school visits, lightning and thunder are actually the same thing. Lightning is the visual you see and thunder is the sound you hear. But if you take a physics class, you know that light travels faster than sound. And that's why you see a lightning bolt 99% of the time first before you ever hear the thunder. Pack a bag, hand sanitizer, wipes, if you have masks, anything that you can make yourself a little bit more comfortable with. We understand the current climate and the situation of everything that's happening, but know that this is the priority. If a tornado watch is being issued for your area already and more could potentially come down the line, you need to think about where the safest place for you to go is. There's a lot of different counties currently that are under a tornado watch, and it's a PDS watch, John. That's a particularly dangerous situation. So we've seen several storms that are capable of producing major damage in Mississippi, some of which could come into Alabama. We'll continue to track those as we head throughout the rest of the evening because there could be a better coverage and chance of rain today. And boy, oh boy, do we need it, because there are a lot of spots that are already easily feeling like they're at or above 100 degrees. Oh, and did we mention it's not even lunchtime yet? Feels like 101 in Demopolis, 102 in Selma and Montgomery. Obviously, it's going to get hotter as we head through the day. Hour by hour, you can see there's a whole lot of orange going on in the forecast. We're talking highs today, instead of being in the low and mid 90s, being more like mid and maybe even upper 90s. But I know this time of year, you don't care about the air temperature. You want to know, Amanda, what does it feel like when I step out the door? Well, unfortunately, a lot of you are feeling a whole lot warmer than the actual number on the thermometer. It's a little less muggy outside. Have you noticed it early this morning during the afternoons? Yeah, it's still humid. It's just not as humid as you might expect by August standards. So again, it's not a major change. We're grasping at straws, trying to look for little nuances in the forecast that make it feel a little less like August in Alabama. And this is kind of the only hope that we have, at least in the short term. Long term, going back into a muggier pattern. So unfortunately, I don't think that drier air is going to stick around forever. But, you know, if you're hoping for some rain, we're going to need a little bit more moisture and a little bit more lift in the atmosphere. Today's coverage is not overwhelming. We do see a few pop-up showers and storms. The closer we get to the upcoming weekend, the more accurate data we'll get, the more confidence we'll have on exact timing and impacts. But here's just a general idea of what we're watching for that First Alert Weather Day on Sunday, where we could see the most impact. Northern and western portions of the state look to kind of be that bullseye right now, but don't necessarily see pink and red and say, okay, if I live in the red shading, that means it's not going to be as bad for me. Medium and high risk days this far out with this much confidence are still something that you need to take very seriously. That's the battle, and that's why we do long form coverage here at WSFA, because storms just don't continue in the same strength. They can ebb and flow, and that is why we need to monitor every single scan, and that's why we walk you through the new information. These storms are living, breathing things. They continue to grow, and they also continue to decrease in strength, and can do both as we go throughout the life cycle of a storm. So that's why we continue to stay on air to give you updates, and we'll keep an eye. That's the one tornado warning, but along this line in general, there's, I think, several potential areas of weak rotation we could be eyeing. We are very confident that this system is not going to make any impact on the United States. Actually, it's moving away from us. You can see this is subtropical storm Theta with 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds, continuing to push off towards the east very quickly. Not going to be an impact to us, but an interesting storm because it is the farthest we've ever made it in the Greek alphabet before. We've never had a Theta before until now. Could we go even farther than that into the Greek alphabet? I think we will, because over the next 2 days, the system doesn't have a high likelihood of developing, but over the next 5, it will likely be our next tropical system. So we'll be watching it for sure. If it does indeed get a name, it'd be Iota. So getting a little bit of a Greek lesson. We'll be going through that Greek alphabet for sure, but don't worry, there's still several letters left in the alphabet. Hopefully we don't have to use them. And a lot of people have been asking, just in case you were wondering, hurricane season does end November 30th, but hurricanes don't have calendars, so tropical systems can and have formed after November 30th, so do keep that in mind. It's just generally when the tropics usually start to quiet down. This is just the beginning, and unfortunately, we're moving into a time where a lot of people are getting ready to go to sleep, and these storms are just now starting to ramp up in intensity across our area. So we cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have multiple reliable ways of getting weather information. But the big thing is that if we don't have power, you need to have an alternative to maybe your television to watching this coverage. So don't forget, there's multiple ways that you can watch this, whether it's on WSFA.com/live inside your First Alert weather or news app. We're streaming live on our website. Isolated means the majority of you don't see a drop of rain today, but keeping that First Alert weather app handy will be really important because you'll be able to track those pop-up showers and storms as they happen today. Not everyone gets in on that action, but hey, consider yourself lucky if you do see some of that rain. Last week or so has been a little bit on the drier side, and the only chance of cooling off is going to be from one of these passing showers or storms. So you might actually want to do your rain dance as we end December and head into January. Remember, this is our secondary severe weather season, so it's not completely out of the question to see strong and potentially severe storms, but overall right now, the system, I wouldn't say is the most impressive winter setup I've ever seen, but look at this low pressure, really easy to define, right around the Dallas, Texas area. Not only on the warm side are we dealing with a good bit of shower and storm activity, look at all of the freezing mix they're dealing with into parts of Oklahoma. And don't forget, if you have any reports you want to send along to us, any videos, we would appreciate you passing that along. And a small little tip, Lee, before we send it back over to you. This is a news thing. A lot of people probably don't know about this. A little pet peeve if you ever talk to a news photographer. When you're taking a video on your phone, I know a lot of us go like this, Snapchat, you don't want to be in the vertical. Turn it and make it horizontal. It makes it better for TV. So if you're going to send it to us, it would really help us out if you could send it in horizontally. But please do so in a safe manner. We want everybody out there to be safe. We don't want anybody out there to potentially put themselves or anybody else in harm's way.